Welcome to Back to the Futures, the official podcast of the Futures League, presented by ChangeUp. I'm Owen Shadrick, alongside Johnny Maffey. Johnny, we've had a lot of returning players coming on this podcast so far, and another one joins us in the form of Shea Ryan from the Nashua Silver Knights.
Yeah, Owen, thanks for everyone for tuning in, whether you're watching or listening. It was great talking to Shea. This is going to be a fun interview, a great interview. He's pitching well this season, and Greg Bozzo said on the Silver Knights podcast that it's his second year, and in a league like this, you know, in summer ball, if you're there for a second year, if you're there for a full season, you're a vet, you know, let alone second year. Shea's coming back for his third year. And despite all of, you know, the fun stuff we tried to talk about, he talked about, you know, bringing a veteran, you know, he plans on bringing a veteran presence to the Silver Knights, and he has eyes on doing what they did in 2020.
Yeah, he wants another ring to add to his 2020 Futures League championship. Was it hand? Ring to the hand, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Anyway.
Ring on every finger, low cash.
Ring on every finger. Johnny, how many days we got left till the season? 45 days.
The Pedro Martinez days.
Pedro Martinez days. The league is we are so close to another league season.
It's funny. I was just talking about Memorial Day with someone. Spring is sprung, kind of. It doesn't feel like it around here, but it is spring, and obviously Memorial Day is the unofficial kickoff to summer. And you know, what better way to start off Memorial Day weekend than with Thursday night baseball in the Futures League? I just can't wait to break it down. We're gonna we have a couple more episodes left in this season, maybe, and then we'll get it go. Then it's time to plan. Then it's baseball. Then it's for us. We're playing Futures League baseball. So you know, it's awesome. Like I said last week, to see everyone just doing great. We talked plenty about, you know, the Futures League guys for the Greyhounds, for the Assumption Greyhounds, where Shea goes to school, and it's getting excited. 45 days is not that many days.
Is not that many days. We were recording here on Thursday, April 7th. That is Major League Baseball opening day, but we're excited for Futures League opening day and for you guys to hear this interview. So we're going to get you there. Here is Shea Ryan.
Let's roll.
We're honored to be joined by our next guest. He is a pitcher at Assumption, and it's now his third year as he's returning to the Silver Knights this summer. He was a 2020 champ, excuse me. Shea Ryan. Shea, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good. How are you guys?
We're doing great, Shea. Thanks for coming on. First question, we're going to start this one off a little differently. Forget about the Futures League for a sec, because we thought this would be a good question to ask you. What does summer ball mean to you?
Summer ball means a lot to me. I think it's just more of like a fun atmosphere, and I feel like it's more like a family-based thing. Get to know a bunch of guys from all over the country. Like I saw, we got a couple guys coming this summer from like Wake Forest, Maryland, and it's cool just to play from like with guys from all different levels.
Yeah, and you know, we can talk about the grand scheme of summer ball all we want, but how do you think the Futures League specifically captures that?
I think the Futures League captures it very well because we have guys from high D1s to like D3s that you never even heard of. Like there's a couple of schools that guys are coming from this summer going to play for Nashua, and I've never heard of the college before, so I think it's cool. You get to see guys from like California, Florida, and then obviously in the New England area, so it kind of just brings it all together.
Yeah, and then how about the other aspects you embrace, like off the field? You know, you get to meet these guys that, you know, you not only get to play with and against, you know, guys from Wake Forest, Vanderbilt, BC, you name it, you know, other any 10 schools, but you get to know these guys off the field. You're on the bus with them every day. How do you just have fun with it, you know, for 60 games throughout a summer?
I feel like it's always just been like a fun atmosphere. You're playing out in the sun, playing the sport you love, and all the guys are there just to more like have fun. Like obviously the stats matter, but it is summer ball. At the end of the day, you're there to just have fun, meet a great group of guys, and just try to win games.
Yeah, it must have been a lot of fun when you were a 2020 Futures League champion with the Silver Knights, picked up that title, beating Worcester in the improbable summer, as we called it. How did you take that kind of winning atmosphere that you guys developed in Nashua into 2021? And what was it like playing last summer?
I would say winning that championship was a great experience because it was my first year in Nashua and got to play with a couple guys I grew up with. So it was kind of cool just to like play summer ball, win my first like real title because I've never won like a championship before. So it was kind of cool to be a part of that. And then going into last year, we tried to kind of continue momentum, but didn't really work too well. And this year we're hoping to bring back a ring for Nashua to kind of make revenge for the team from last year.
So the Super Bowl drought's a real thing then. The hangover, excuse me. FCBL championship hangover.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm joking. Just messing around. Hopefully Kyle Jackson doesn't get too mad at me about that one. Back to the spring, you guys had a nice walk-off win Saturday against Franklin Pierce. You guys took 3 of 4 from them on the weekend. You went 6 strong, 1 earned for the W. Pat Harrington, the Vermont Lake Monsters champ, went game 1, got the win, or you guys won game 1. Jack Choate, our strikeout king, and the single game, Assumption strikeout king, or at least tied for the lead. He only had 14 Ks this time in 7 innings, game 2. And then you pitched game 1 Sunday. How did that feel to just, you guys all went out there, you guys all know each other, you've been going at this for a while now. How did that feel this weekend?
This past weekend was very big for us because Franklin Pierce has always beaten us. At least I've heard from the last 10 years. And Coach Rocco said in his last decade, he's only won 3 times total. So it was kind of crazy to take 3 out of 4 from them this weekend. And then having the pitching staff we do with Pat, Choate, and me, we're kind of always going to go out there confident and knowing we have a chance to win the game, no matter who we play, if it's Pierce, Snoo, or anybody at that rate. And then going in when we're up 2-0, it's more relaxing for me just to go out there, trust my stuff, and use my defense behind me.
Yeah, that mentality certainly works. So if you were a Futures League GM and there's a Futures League draft, who are you picking first overall, Choate or Harrington?
This is a tough one. It is. But I'm going to have to go with Choate based off his last 2 performances because 19 Ks in 7 innings is unheard of. And then doing 14 Ks against Pierce is also unbelievable. And I feel like he just has the better stuff, I guess you could say, because low 90s fastball with his changeup it's pretty unhittable. But you can't go wrong with either guy.
All right, we won't tell Pat. We'll stick with it. No, we love Pat. We had him on over the summer. We got to have Choate on soon too. All right, sticking with the draft, you need a guy behind the plate too. How about an all Shea Ryan catcher? Who's your favorite guy you've thrown to in the Futures League that you'd pick in your Futures draft if you're a GM?
This is a tough one. I'm probably going to go with Greg Bozzo because he's coming back this summer, and I kind of have to be on his good side a little bit so he can catch my balls. But Nate Goranson's a close second because he was my dog last summer.
Yeah, they both had some cannons last summer behind the plate. They're just working in tandem, throwing guys out. It's hard to run on them.
Mm-hmm. That helped me a lot.
Yeah, certainly helped a lot of pitchers out. And, we just talked about Harrington and Choate, and obviously you make up a dynamic tandem there at Assumption. What do you guys learn and take away from each other when you watch each other pitch and, give advice to each other when you're on the bench and whatnot?
So we kind of feed off each other because we're all pretty confident guys. So we always think we're going to go out there, do our thing, and get the W. But we always help each other between innings. If one of those pitches didn't work, we'd tell them they're either rushing or going too slow with their arm action. Then we always kind of if we have a rough inning, we pick each other up immediately. I would say this past Sunday, that one inning where I let up a run, Choate was the first guy out there to say oh, I'm slowing down or rushing a little bit. So we're always picking each other up.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's great, when guys are in the dugout versus the bullpen or however the teams do it, sometimes there are too many guys on the roster in the summer to have a friend that's a pitcher in the dugout, but that's good to hear. That's good to know. That's all you can ask for as a coach. And I'm sure he's happy with you guys, especially after last weekend. Mm-hmm. So when you're in the summer though, you're teammates with Pat Harrington one summer, but not last summer. You face these guys a lot. You're not in the same dugout. You're not wearing the same jersey. Is there a lot of banter back and forth? Are you shouting at them from the dugout when they're on the mound or anything?
Oh yeah, there's definitely some chirps going on during the game, but usually before and after we always talk, wish each other good luck if we are the ones that are starting the game. Well, when I pitched up in Vermont, after I let up a home run, I forget to who it was, every single day now before a game, Pat literally goes, "You remember that home run you let up at Vermont?" It kind of just like pissed me off a little bit to get me mad to go into the game. It is always fun with him.
Is that the best like chirp we can keep PG for the podcast, or any other funny ones that you just were on the mound and heard one of your teammates just?
I would say that's probably a good one. And then I always get chirped a little bit for my weight sometimes because I got a velo pouch. So that's always a good one that I hear a couple times. But other than that, those are probably the only PG ones we can say.
Long live the velo pouch. I got one too. All right. So how do you take a weekend that you just had against Franklin Pierce into the rest of the month, especially in conference play?
So yeah, this past weekend was really big for us, especially because Pierce was second. We were third in our side of the conference. So we knew we had to come out like guns blazing, come out hot. And we knew if we took at least 2 or 3 from them, we could compete with anybody. And I would say the first 3 games kind of were easy in a way. It felt like we were the better team. So going in for the rest of the season, we're going to use that as like momentum. Like we can beat anyone in the NE10 when we play our best stuff. So like going into this weekend against Stonehill, we're fully confident we could go 3-1 or even sweep them.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know that stat. Thanks for bringing that up, that your coach had only beat them 3 times, and you doubled that this weekend. So that's definitely, awesome from just that perspective in general, just history, just confidence there, feeling like everything comes together. You don't use a wood bat, but you certainly benefit from them as a pitcher because they're not metal, they're not aluminum. But you guys played a game at Northborough Athletic Complex, baseball complex, excuse me, a couple weeks ago against SNHU, where we use metal bats there, and I think it should be a wood bat place. That is a short porch. Yeah. And I think, what do you think about this? And Owen, you can answer this too. I think wood bats should take over all of college baseball.
I think wood bats should take over. I mean, if the pros use them, why shouldn't we? Because we're one level below. So, I mean, and it helps me as a pitcher, obviously. If I throw inside, yes. I can break a couple bats here and there.
I mean, I would have said it the same way. Like, if the pros are using it and you guys are preparing to go to the pros, why wouldn't the pros use it? Or why wouldn't you use it? I don't know. I agree.
Yeah, especially since we're having home run derbies here and kids are just poking them out a Holman Easy or whatever. Insert FCBL stadium name here.
Oh, yeah.
But it's funny. You got guys like Carabas who want metal bats. It's like, oh, we shouldn't even have those at like D3 sometimes.
No, I think it should be wood.
So we talked about a lot of the good pitchers that your teammates with and yourself, obviously. But another one just recently left in Colt Udoba. He's now with UConn. What's your relationship like with him, and what was it like, hearing he was headed to UConn?
I kind of assumed Cole was going to try and go up a division to go play somewhere. And we knew going into last year he was going to go play for UConn. And he was always one of those like silent leaders, I guess you could call it. And he always like kind of helped me one-on-one, like wouldn't like put me in front of the whole team or something, like if I messed up on a pitch, something like that. But he always was like there for me, like as a freshman, because I was a starter my freshman year and so was he. So he kind of like brought me under his wing a little bit to teach me. I'm hoping the best success for him at UConn this year.
Yeah, as are we. We look forward to we continue to look forward to see how he does. And in the summer you were managed by Kyle Jackson. You talked about him earlier. What's it like playing under Kyle?
It's a pretty good experience playing under Kyle. He's one of those like more like laid back coaches. Like he'll let us play our game as long as we do well. He's happy, and he always kind of keeps the boys like in the game because even though it is summer ball, he always just kind of says, "Do your thing, have fun. We win." But at the end of the day, it's all about having fun in summer ball.
Yeah, definitely. Especially the atmosphere that, Cam Cook, the Credens, Katie Aaron creates at Holman Stadium. All right, we'll give you a sec to think about this one if you need it. Do you have a favorite K-Jack story you can share with us?
Favorite K-Jack story? This one isn't that like funny, but I'd say one day I was one of the starting pitchers, and it was a rainy day or whatever, and I called him if like I had to be there for BP or whatever, and his first response was he had no idea we even had a game that day. He thought we were just because it was on a Monday where we normally wouldn't have a game. Basically, he didn't know what to get. We had a game that day because it was a Monday. Called me, didn't know there was BP or anything. He's like, hey, just show up as long as you're on time for the game, ready to go.
Summer ball, baby.
Oh, yeah. He's always a riot, though.
So back to Holman Stadium, too. Yeah, we got to love Kyle. He's been great to us, and, couldn't ask for anything more. Last summer, your pitching coach, Ariel Ramos, he brought up a unique point when we interviewed him on this podcast. He said Holman Stadium's like the Fenway Park of the Futures League. I couldn't agree more. What are your thoughts on that?
I also couldn't agree more. I feel like the atmosphere that we bring in Nashua, it's kind of like in like any other. And, like Boston's always known for their chirps, always going at the other team. And especially on Thursday, as our fans get pretty wild and the other team does not like to hear it. But I've always loved playing for them. It is basically like Fenway Park. And the fans are always into the game, which is great.
So you talk about the atmosphere at Holman Stadium. One way that you guys help kind of liven it up a little bit is the Love Is Gone dance in the 6th inning. And you've been in the bullpen many times and had to participate in that. What are your thoughts?
Love Is Gone is one of those traditions where it's like you either love it or hate it, and you're kind of forced to do it. Because another KJack story, one we didn't do it for a Sunday game, we got ripped apart because we didn't do it. So now every single one of the bullpen, even if you're starting, you have to do Love Is Gone. So it's always a good time getting the fans going.
Hold on, we'll get right back to the Futures, but first, we want to share a message from our friends at 78 Sports. Do you have kids playing baseball or softball? We all know practice time is limited, especially here in New England, not to mention the cost of lessons and cage time can add up very quickly. Save yourself time and money by giving your kids what they need to work on their game at home. Our friends at 78 Sports can help you put together the perfect at-home training setup. Whether you want to start small with just a tee and a net, or looking to set up a full cage with turf and a pitching machine, they have you covered. And I've used their stuff before. I've seen their facilities. They definitely cover everything. The team at 78 Sports design and install hundreds of at-home and commercial sports training facilities. So let them help you find the perfect setup for your space. Visit the 78 Sports website at 78sports.com. That's SEVENTY, the number 8, sports.com. For a limited time only, by just mentioning Back to the Futures, you'll receive a 10% discount off your order. That's SEVENTY, number 8, sports.com. Now, back to your regularly scheduled programming.
All right, so you're not necessarily local to Nashua. You're not a New Hampshire kid, but your grandparents, you told us, live in Hampton Beach. It's not super close to Nashua, but do they make you play there because, it's closer than any other option?
I mean, for me, it's only like 15 minutes because I'm from Chelmsford, Mass. It's only too bad, but they always make the trip out from Hampton because they're all summer. So whenever I pitch, they make the drive down there and back. But I always knew from the Murphys about Nashua. So I was like, oh, why not try after my freshman year to go play there? I was like, all right, may as well try. Cam brought me on, and now I'm about to go on year 3.
Yeah, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together there. That Chelmsford's right there. That's obviously an easy decision.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Especially during like the COVID summer and everything, when you could just scoot right over.
Oh, yeah, that was easy. 15 minutes away. And it was the only summer ball league playing, so I kind of got lucky with that one.
So we've asked a lot of guys about their recruiting journeys, and we'll ask you to why Assumption? What drew you to there, and why? How'd you end up there?
I'd say it was a weird process for me, like throughout high school, because I always thought I was going to be like one of those D1 guys. But then going through the process, I kind of realized what I'd rather be a reliever on like a D1 team or a starter on a D2. And Assumption made me feel that like I was going to be a starter right when I got there. Freshman year, I got 2 starts before the COVID year hit. So, and then Coach Rocco always just seemed like he really wanted me there. I was the only lefty recruit he's had in the last couple of years. And Brendan Cutler, I don't know if you guys know him. He was the main person who recruited me because he was one of my Nor'easters coaches when I was like 12. So he always knew of me and then told Rocco about me. And now I'm a junior here at Assumption.
Yeah, that was quick, right? 2 starts and then boom, it's sophomore shortened season, and then oopsies, It's junior year.
Yeah,
you're still freshman eligibility wise though, technically.
Technically, yeah, I am, which is kind of crazy to think about.
It's funny. I'm a fifth year, and I have 2 years left after this if I really wanted to, but
Yeah.
it's
I
not
think
going to
that's
happen.
crazy. People can be like 25, 26 still playing college baseball if they wanted to.
No, not that old yet, but I know it's crazy. It's funny. From a right, I don't know if you'll appreciate this as much, but from a right-handed pitcher perspective, that's been on a staff with a majority of righties throughout my college career, it's awesome bringing a lefty in because you're like, oh, that's fresh and new. So it's funny that you mentioned he was like you're his only lefty recruit. Was that like something you noticed?
I did notice that, yeah, because not all the whole staff was all righties my freshman year, but then we got 2 walk-ons that are actually in my grade that ended up being lefties. Now Jack Choate, who was a walk-on, which I still don't know how. I don't know how he didn't get recruited by anybody, being a 6'8" lefty, but it was weird kind of being like the only like lefty that at least on the staff before those 2 walked on like the end of the fall.
It's like, yeah, your number's going to get called. You got to work the matchups once in a while.
Oh yeah, we like with Pat, we always go one of my roommates, Corey, who's a lefty, right after him, and then Choate, we always go righty after him. Just like kind of the matchups once like our pitch count gets up.
I don't want to pitch after Choate if I'm a righty or lefty or whatever. I don't.
Well, we haven't needed
automatically.
To times.
I was just gonna say you literally haven't needed to do
That's
that.
Good. That's the strategy. Nobody pitches after him.
Yeah, it's probably better. Let him go all 7.
Yeah, absolutely. Got pretty loud. We saw the videos of that walk-off Saturday. Is that the loudest Assumption's ever been since you've been there?
Yeah, because that was my 5th home game ever because freshman year COVID hit, and then last year we didn't have any home series because our president didn't allow fans, and we didn't allow the other team for the first couple of times. So the only time we had fans last year was the SNU series. So we had 3 games, no fans, just playing baseball. So this year we finally got fans. Place was packed because everyone finally was like, oh, there's a baseball game. We can go watch. And then there's a dorm building right behind home plate. So everyone was watching from their dorms in the stands. And then when the walk-off happened, the place erupted.
Yeah, I've been to your field there. The dorms are perfectly placed. It's like when a field has a good parking garage in the outfield and fans just get rowdy up there. Did the Holman crowds prepare you for loud days with lots of fans and that big atmosphere?
Oh yeah, Holman fans definitely get rowdy, especially Thirsty Thursdays, because we have some very loyal fans. Like as you know, Mad Dog. Mad Dog always gets rowdy no matter what, and then especially on Thursday with a couple in him, he goes a little crazy. Always loved playing with Holman. It's always a loud atmosphere. Makes it more fun.
Yeah, Holman Stadium and among other Futures League stadiums that bring the noise during the summer. And we mentioned it obviously off the top. You are back for the 2022 season. What are you looking forward to most?
I'm looking forward to kind of bringing like a sort of veteran leadership back to Nashua because Cam and K-Jax have said I'm going to be one of the starters in the rotation to start the year. And I've talked to a bunch of the guys that are returning and a couple of guys that I know from playing like AAU baseball, travel baseball. And we kind of understand like this is kind of like a ring season. We kind of want to prove ourselves from last year because we started off 9-24 last year and then ended up almost fighting for a playoff spot. So I kind of want to continue that momentum with the guys from last year and kind of bring that like veteran presence to show Nashua's like back in a title contention.
So obviously I've been with the league for the pretty much the same amount of time as you. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was this the first summer that you'll be starting in Nashua, or did you start last year a little bit?
So I was a reliever to start last year, and then at the end of the year, I think I got 5 starts, again July to August. But this is the first year like I'll be part of the rotation from the jump.
Awesome. Yeah, that'll be fun to watch. We can't wait to see that. Before we return to Back to the Futures, we want to share a message from our friends at Zorian Bat Company. Rob Zorian started the company, Zorian Bat Company, in 2003, literally out of the trunk of his car in Davie, Florida. Within 2 years, he was selling his wood bat line to Major League Baseball and continues to manufacture the highest grade wood bats for Little League all the way up to the majors. Rob Zorian, founder and president of Zorian, says, I started the company in 2003 to service all baseball players in the United States and beyond. And after 19 years, our mission has not changed. We are very excited to have the opportunity to work with the Futures League and wish all of our players and coaches a healthy and successful season ahead. For more information about Zorian, visit their website, ZorianBats.com. Zorian, America's baseball brand. Now, back to the Futures. And we now move on to our final segment here. It's called Quick Hits. It's presented by Zephyr, the official on-field hat of the Futures League. Zephyr, high quality and innovative design since 1993. So, Shea, we got a few more questions for audience to get to know you better. Is that cool?
Yeah, it's perfect.
All right, let's roll. First one, right off the bat, always the hardest. Favorite teammate that you've played with in Nashua?
Oof, that's a tough one.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with Nick Perkins. He's the pride of Nashua. I've played with him my whole 3 years. I grew a great bond with him. I still contact him here and there, but he always made me laugh no matter what throughout the day.
Nick Perkins, the face of Nashua. I like that nickname. Now, what about walk-up music? What's blaring at Assumption or at Nashua this summer?
Well, so last year I tried to do Gotta or Can't Have Everything by Drake, but Katie said I couldn't because I had to swear. But I found a clean version, so that will be my walkout this summer if she lets me. And that's what it is right now for Assumption.
Awesome. And then we've asked a lot of players this on Quick Hits as well, but as especially as a lefty, are there any big league players that you look up to?
Well, he's not a lefty, but I look up to Marcus Stroman the most because I've always been kind of doubted because of my height. I'm only 5'10". It's not like the hardest throwing pitcher, and he always made it seem like how like his motto, height doesn't measure heart. So I kind of just use him as my motivation to prove to everyone I could be a starter in my height, throwing mid-80s.
HDMH, shout out to one of my teammates, Matt Frere. He's got that as a tattoo.
I thought about getting that as a tattoo. I haven't yet, but we'll see.
Stroman's definitely a guy that he has a lot of super fans, definitely. What about what's on your sports bucket list?
Sports bucket list would be try and go to all 30 stadiums. That'll take a while, but then I also want to go to a World Series game. I've been to a couple Red Sox like divisional round, conference round, all that stuff, but I kind of wanted to see like the full atmosphere of World Series at Fenway.
And what about a favorite stadium you've ever played at?
I would say Polar Park because that was my only start last year was at Polar Park. The atmosphere was insane. Field's gorgeous, and we actually are playing there this weekend too. And if the rain holds off, I'm supposed to pitch there again, but we'll see.
Yeah, you got to set against Stonehill Saturday, right? That's what if Mother Nature allows.
I hope so.
Well, actually, people listening to this, it'll be 2 days ago, but good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll update them all on Twitter. What about last question of our Quick Hit segment presented by Zephyr? What is a favorite all-time baseball memory?
I'd say my favorite all-time memory would probably, I'd say throwing a no-hitter on my senior night, which is pretty cool because my whole like senior class, I grew up playing with them. All 1 through 9 were all starters, all seniors. So it was kind of cool just to play in front of the town, wear the maroon and white one last time, and ended up coming out on top, throwing a no-no.
Yeah, that's a good way to go out, I think. I think that's a good way to cap it all off.
I'd say so.
And before we sign off, how about a message to Silver Knight fans as you are back for 2022?
I'd say a message for Silver Knights fans would be, remember 2020. It's going to happen again. The boys are all happy, ready to go, and we're kind of looking for revenge. We're ready to get that championship back in Nashua.
Nashua is looking. Yeah, let's go. Looking for revenge, looking for another championship. Shea, that's all we got for you today. Thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck with everything, and we can't wait to see you this summer in Nashua.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Thanks, Shea.
Gotcha.
And this has been episode 11 of season 4 of Back to the Futures, the official podcast of the Futures League. We have new episodes coming out every Monday. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see everyone soon.